Hello everybody, Rookimoction here, and welcome to the team preview for the Meloette Draft League. Now this one is going to be kind of an interesting one. For this draft league, we're doing a VGC draft. So, this one is going to be played on Champions itself. So I'm actually pretty excited. I've been wanting to get more into VGC, but I've never really had the ability to. I don't really live in a place that has the local scene and stuff, so it's hard for me to get into VGC. I at least know how. I at least know some of the stuff. I've watched some VGC content. But I'm actually pretty excited for this, and I'm actually, I like my team because it's got a lot going on, and I do like teams that have a lot going on, especially in a VGC style, where it's I've got these different modes that I have access to, and it's going to be really hard to play into all the modes, because you don't know what I'm going to be bringing. So, my team for this draft is, I've got Meowstic Male, specifically Male, Armarouge, Ninetales, Hawlucha, Mega Alakazam, Gyarados, Mega Venusaur, Primarina, and Glaceon. Now, when it comes down to it, I knew that I wanted to run a Psychic Terrain based team, centered around Meowstic Male and Mega Alakazam. But then I also got thinking, well, what if I ran a little bit of Sun as well? There's some Sun mons that are pretty fun to use, but one big thing for Scarlet and Violet was the combination of Indeedee and Armarouge. Well, I've got Meowstic Armarouge, but the big thing that I think would also be fun, that I have actually been using a little bit on Champions, is I've been using a fast Armarouge instead of a slow one for Trick Room, which I think ends up pairing very well with Mega Alakazam. So I've got this fast Psychic Terrain instead of a slow Trick Room Psychic Terrain, which might end up throwing some people off. I can still run the slow Trick Room set with a Sun mode in the back as well. With Ninetales, Venusaur. Now, I went with Mega Venusaur. There's not a high likelihood that I end up Mega-ing Venusaur, because base Venusaur has access to Chlorophyll. Now, why did I pick Mega Venusaur then? Because it was cheaper than Venusaur. I went with Mega Venusaur because it was cheaper than Venusaur. So it's basically just I have a Venusaur that cannot hold an item, which, with the item limitations that we have in Pokemon Champions right now, I'm not too worried about it. But I also wanted to make sure that, I had a good, defensive core. I can still Mega Evolve Venusaur if I feel like I need that more defense. The ability Thick Fat, fantastic ability, but I would be giving up Chlorophyll in the Sun. However, I could still, run, some modes of, I've got Meowstic setting up Trick Room this week. And, I've got, Mega Venusaur, Primarina, and Glaceon in the back. Or, Mega Venusaur, Glaceon, Gyarados to, help support and stuff. But, I've got, a slower team, or I could have Meowstic, supporting my fast side of, Armarouge, Mega Alakazam. I've got Hawlucha here for Tailwind support. Really just Tailwind support and, Helping Hand. Hawlucha himself, not the best doublesmon, but I did not really see any other, value Tailwind setters that I wanted. And so, it's Hawlucha, at least being a very fast Pokemon, can at least get out the Tailwind consistently. While not the bulkiest mon, I was thinking about drafting Mega Hawlucha just so that I have that extra bulk, but I decided against it. I really did not feel like I do Mega Hawlucha justice whenever I'm got Mega Alakazam. But I'm super, super excited to use Mega Alakazam. I've never used it before, but with 175 special attack and in Psychic Terrain, Mega Alakazam is going to hit like a freight train with Expanding Force. And the fact that, it is 150 speed, it is super fast, and like with Prankster Psychic Terrain, I can keep it safe from priority, and I can power up that Expanding Force, hitting both targets, and just eviscerating them. The only problem is, I don't have the best answers to Dark types. So, Hawlucha might end up just being, like, an offensive, like, more of an offensive one, so, like, more of a supporty one, just so it can handle the Dark types. Thankfully, right now, the grace period is happening, but so far, Incineroar has went undrafted, which is super useful for me because of not having to deal with Incineroar. Incineroar would probably end up running over most of this team, except for, the slower, except for, like, if I make, like, my Primarina a little bit fast to deal with Incineroar and just end up, like, taking it out easily that way. But I don't have, like, the best answers to Incineroar, but right now it's undrafted. That might change. Someone might end up picking it up later. But so far, I actually think that because Incineroar is undrafted, that this team ends up being a lot better. So, I don't have that negative matchup into that one person who can end up just running over most of my team because of Incineroar. Some other Dark types might end up being a little bit of a problem, but because they will still be weak to Fairy, instead of neutral to Fairy like Incineroar, Primarina ends up being able to really also help out in those Dark type matchups, as well as Hawlucha, not having to worry about intimidating fighting types, or intimidating Dark types, I mean. So both Primarina and Hawlucha end up going up because Incineroar is just not there. So we'll see just how things end up going. I'm super excited for this team. A lot of these mons, like, I've used a little bit, but, like, just individually. I've never really, like, thought about, like, what would happen if, like, I threw it all together in a team like this, where it's got these different modes. It's got the Sun mode. It's got this Psychic Terrain mode. It's got a Trick Room mode. It's got a Tailwind mode. It's going to be super hard to play into, and the fact that it is also VGC means that I can bring, like, 2 modes to each battle, and so they won't know what modes I bring. So I love that versatility that I have in this team, and I think that, like, on paper, this team doesn't look the best. I don't even think that this team looks the best. I'm super skeptical about this team. But I think, like, with good play, I think this team will end up doing okay. Now, I'm still not the best at VGC, I'm still, like, not the best when it comes to double battles, but I'm super excited, and I've been wanting to step my foot into it a little bit more. Now, I am very weak to Fake Out. I will say, I don't have a Ghost type, I don't have a normal immunity, so Protect is going to be very useful for me, but it's also going to be very much a gamble for me. Now, thankfully, with Psychic Terrain, Inner Focus Alakazam, on this base form anyway, I don't have to worry about, getting flinched with Alakazam. If I keep it in the base form, I don't have to worry about Fake Out there. But, like, I'm going to be megaing Alakazam a lot. But my main Fake Out I turned is just the fact that, I have Prankster Psychic Terrain with Meowstic. So, I think, like, it's going to be a very hard team to pivot. I'm super excited to use it, though. And I hope that you all are excited to watch through this and experience this with me. So, I'm still super weak to, like, Rock Slide and stuff. But I think, like, with just smart play, I might be able to get around it. But yeah, being super weak to Ghost, having like, no Ghost resist, no Ghost immunity, it's going to be very hard to play. So I'm excited and skeptical. But I do hope that you all end up like sticking around. I hope that you all find a lot of enjoyment out of this. I think it's going to be super interesting. I'm going to be playing my best. I'm going to be having as much fun as I can, and I hope that you all will stick around for that. So either way, thank you for watching, and I hope that you all have yourselves a fantastic day.